Thank you for joining us for what will be many conversations brought to you by the Each Other Project. The mission of the Each Other Project is to create community through arts and activism where urban queer men are seen. So today we have with us 4 talented African-American men who've all created, produced, and in many cases acted in their own web series. This particular series is called Exploring Black Gay Web Series, and we're going to start by having each gentleman introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm David J. Cork, and I'm the creator of By the Web Series.
I'm Leaky Wright, the creator of The Outcrowd.
I'm Dane Joseph, and I'm the creator of Drama Queenz.
Danye R. Love, I am the creator of Modern Day Black Gay.
Okay, so let's just jump into it. Obviously, none of us are millionaires that I'm aware of. You guys all
Speak for yourself.
Oh, you're like, yeah. Okay, we have one.
Stash.
So let's go straight into what the challenges have been for you guys for creating these series. Obviously, cameras, lights, locations. Who wants to start?
Oh my God. I think the hardest one for me was locations sometimes. Trying to get a place that would allow us to shoot for free. Trying to get a place that would work with our time schedule, with the schedule that all the other actors were dealing with, and finding a place that would look good on camera. Mm-hmm. I feel like trying to find locations were like probably the hardest thing for me.
Yeah, I would have to agree. So the bulk of Modern Day Black Gay takes place in the main character and his best friend's apartment. Mm-hmm. Like, I want to say maybe 80 to 90% of the first season takes place there. So we were like, that was the biggest challenge, is finding a place. And the place that we actually did find was a 1-bedroom apartment. So we had to maneuver and operate where we turned into a 2-bedroom apartment. Wow. So that took a lot of time, turning this one space into a bedroom and then having it be the exact space that it's supposed to be. So I would agree.
What would you say, Dave?
For me, money.
You might talk about it.
Money. I'm keeping it real in terms of, like, you know, my first season of web series, it was like everybody's like, oh, and I know what I was doing back then. Like, oh wow, you know, then we'll do it. Everybody kind of pitches in, and then you keep going on and on and on, and all of a sudden people are like, well, I need some money myself.
Well, I mean, let's talk about that though. I mean, the money. So, what do you feel like your biggest challenge was, Leaky, as far as getting your series off the ground?
Well, I think for me the biggest challenge had to be the fact I didn't know what I was doing. So fundamentally, at the end of the day, it was like I came up with an idea and I said, hey, I want to make this. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know what cameras were right, who to contact, but that was the process. But as far as like funding goes, if you're asking me about like Kickstarter or any of like the crowdfunding sources, I think the hardest part was, you know, not necessarily, I don't know that many people like in the field and people who are interested in the arts like that. So it was hard to kind of, I was like basically begging family and whatnot, and that circle is only so large. Right. So I ended up running into a wall with like trying to crowdfund because I didn't have like a kind of a baseline. So the first 3 episodes were all sort of like self-funded, and then going forward it's just sort of, we need to raise more money. So
more is coming from...
No. Our Kickstarter failed, but...
What do you think the failure was in your Kickstarter?
I think the failure was, honestly, it just wasn't one. It kind of, I think for me personally, I think it sort of popped out of nowhere. Even though I was thinking about it for a while, I didn't let other people know I was thinking about it for a while. So for me, it was like I've been planning this for months, and for other people, it's like you just popped it up on us. But also, I just think it was bad timing. I didn't contact the people who were like important and influential as far as making that happen. And also, to be completely honest, it's a hard thing to do, to ask people for money.
take this. It's $300. Truth be told, that 300 was the last I had left to my name.
Do you guys feel like, I mean, I know you obviously for a while, so I'll start the question with you. Do you have any disappointment with the crowds and crowds of people that say they're your friends and they support you? Do you feel disappointed that they didn't maybe support your project as well as you know they could have?
Hell yeah. Like literally some people I don't use that term loosely anyway, like friend. But what I've learned from doing the Kickstarter is that, and then also, let's be honest, we are a forgetful people, right? Like, we will forget a lot of things. But I will say I probably wore everybody out. I was a pest. I'm pretty sure people unfriended me and blocked me from how much I was going in with our Kickstarter. But there were a nice amount of people who didn't donate. And again, like, people are forgetful. And then also, times are hard. People don't have money. But for me, if you say that you're going to do something and I see that it doesn't happen, I'm a human, so I'm affected by that. So yeah, so there were people that didn't help, that didn't support, and I just backed off.
And all of our claiming homosexual asses have a party to go to tonight.
Yes! Hey!
After finding out I was gay, she invited me to this gay ass party her brother's throwing. I don't want to go alone.
Go with Derek.
He works tonight.
Where is the party?
Williamsburg.
Ooh, nope, can't afford it.
It's free.
But Williamsburg though? That means it's probably gonna be a white gay party. Ain't nobody got time for that.
No, it will not be. They're black. Racist.
I am not a racist.
Wait, what's wrong with a white gay party?
White gays are their own type of gays, and black gays are our own type of gays. It's been that way since like slavery.
You really are racist.
It's true. Plus, I really don't want to go.
Do you guys think that's a community thing? That's an African American problem? Like, if you look at other series, white series, they don't seem to have the issue as far as production and the audience. Do you think it's a cultural issue that we have, that our people just don't support each other properly, David?
Oh man, I feel like it is a sad truth that our community does not support other people. I feel like a lot of people enjoy hating. You know, they see you doing well, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, but this is wrong, that's wrong, this is wrong, that's wrong. If you really feel this way, why don't you help me out? Why can't we come together and build something strong together instead of you being so, making it like your mission to bring me down?
Dave, do you feel like that's a black issue, period, culturally, or do you think it's a black gay issue that we enjoy hating?
So I don't necessarily know if it's like a black gay thing about hating per se. Sometimes I learned too, a friend told me this is like, you know, my friends are not necessarily my fans. And so,
That's real,
and I completely, and once I was able to understand that myself, it kind of changed a bit of perspective on how I like even viewed seeking support. Like, I have a friend, I can say, damn, you know what, my Kickstarter campaign's not going well today, They might listen to that, they might not want to give me $1. Right. They might be really good, might be really good at, like, let me blow off the steam, you know?
Ladies,
we just wanted to make a peace offering after what happened yesterday.
I made it.
Now, I hope that we can start fresh. Angelique and I really want to be friends with you guys.
No matter how sinful and disgusting we find your lifestyles to be.
Angelique.
So with that lacking community, as you're saying, how do we, because you guys have a tremendous amount of power. I mean, your shows have reached almost 250,000 people. How do you feel like through your mediums that you can help change the thought of community, rather from being a hater to a community of support?
So here's my theory on it. I think our community is so small. Let's also keep it down to the fact that there's a saturation of like LGBT, urban, of color shows, and there's only like so many people.
True.
And we're all trying to tap into it. To be completely honest, at the same time, everybody's doing a Kickstarter. Like 2 or 3 Kickstarters and Indiegogos and whatnot happening at the same time. And we're all kind of contact the same people. We're all working with the same. We're all doing it's like a small community, so it's hard to kind of break out of that. I think that's why like white shows, they do better because they can like hit into their niches that they have when they want to, and we have to kind of like keep tapping into it, especially if you're like in our New York scene. So I think that's the hard part about raising money. I think as far as building a community goes, I don't know. I think the hard part is that fundamentally this gay community of color is hard. It's kind of disjointed a lot of times between like the different types and different groups. And it starts with sort of kind of getting to like the undercurrent of that and building from there. So I don't know. I would love to. That's why I want to make the Out Crowd. I kind of want to just show a different viewpoint that I had not seen before, but it's still hard.
And can I just say, like I keep thinking about like that whole crabs in a barrel kind of notion. Like if like you see somebody making it somewhere, oh no, I gotta pull your ass down, you gotta stay here with me. Right. But like I think something like this is a testament to community and to us kind of just like being together, where you would see a show like Bi or The Outcry or Drama Queens or MDBG and think, okay, they're their own shows, they're all to themselves, but no, like we're here together, wanting to converge. Then you have other shows like No Shade and Free Fall and like so many other shows where also at the same time like there is a community where we're trying to make something happen, and just us for being here right now is like showing that we are together. We may have individual shows that touches on different things, but at the same time we're all trying to fight the same fight in a sense.
Some dude once told me that the only difference between being in and out was perspective. That no matter who you are, the popular stylish pretty boy, the hyper masculine straight acting dude, a queen, or an average dude with terrible style and a not so great body, that we're all looking for the same thing: success, friendship, and love.
So real quick, give you guys each 30 seconds to answer this question. If you could do one thing differently, what would it be?
Hire a sound guy.
Okay. Leaky?
I think if I did one thing differently, it would definitely be I would be more mature about the process. I didn't understand myself enough to say, all right, let me pull back and do what I want to do, and let me not get blinded by what's going on.
I think I would have probably had like another outside, kind of more business focused producer on board certain things. I'm a creative, and in the community, you try to, you have to sometimes be a creative as well as the business person. And honestly, sometimes if you're passionate, your heart's in being creative, you can only do so much in the other regards. So I think to optimize results in the end, or even like future and longevity, I probably would have had another producer come on board.
Okay.
My partner talks about this all the time, and I 100% agree with it now, in hindsight, which is I would have spent more time in pre-production. I thought that I did, but once we started filming, and then now that we're in post-production, I would have spent much more, like months on end in pre-production, getting everything just right.
So, we're going to talk about sex. Why not? What kind of conversation would this be without sex? First, we have you take a look at a couple of these scenes.
Oh, thank you. Oh, you're biting my lip. Ow!
Get my throat pregnant. Christian Louboutin, Red Bull's on. Ready for the scene.
I never got your name.
Does it really matter?
I guess not.
So, and
I snort when I laugh. I'm sorry.
Thank you for that. So, in every one of your shows, just about, there's a reference to sex. I know you run off with some guy at the beach. Malcolm meets a guy off a Jack. Nantucket is just a whole other thing. Nantucket is just a whole other thing. And David, you hook up with the chick after a wedding that you interrupted, your ex's wedding that you interrupted. Why was it so important for you guys to incorporate sex into your shows? Specifically for you, gay apps like Grindr and Jack'd and Adam for Adam. Let's start with
Well, one, because I wanted to get more views, and I just assumed sex sells. But that's it's not that it's not like kind of like that contrived. But I think for me personally, it's because I based a lot of the outcry off of like experiences I had. I over exaggerated, but I was inspired by real experiences, and a good chunk of of my gay experience was like sexually, the foundation of it was sexual, and unfortunately. And so for me, I just wanted to kind of look, now that I'm looking back older and looking back on like my younger self, and I'm like, I wanted to touch on those experiences and on the fact that that's a good, I mean, some of the closest friends I met were because we thought we were gonna hook up based off of like online, you know what I'm saying? It's interesting for our community, a lot of it, because a lot of times we can't just walk up to each other on the train. You don't always know, it's not like straight people who just like bump into each other at a bar and like we want to get to know each other.
Well, what did we do before there were apps? Because
I don't know.
Well, I remember there was Black Gay Planet before there was, Adam for Adam.
What did y'all do?
What did we? What did we do? So have these sex apps like taken over identifying a relationship? Diane, what do you think?
I don't know so much if it's taken over. Well, I'm not on any of those apps
anymore.
I never was, but no. I don't know if they're taking over. I think that there are some people out there that legitimately use it just to get to know people, to kind of like network. And then of course there are people who are on it to get it on and popping.
Yeah.
And I do think that there are some people who actually met and created and established lasting relationships from these apps. So I think it's like two sides to every coin. So I don't know, and I wouldn't knock it.
Your online profile is your identity. Strangers in the club, on a train, or even at a sex party will give you telling looks to let you know that they know who you are. Dude's gonna decide in seconds whether to block you or fuck you. This is our world. And today, I give you life. Do you wanna fuck or be fucked?
What's your thoughts?
I feel like we're like this 2014, so people can, if we have that different resources at our disposal to like find people, find whatever we want or need, want to all go to a bar or anything like that to find what what our heart desires. I think it seems like cool and whatnot to me to do it. And I think it's part of our existence. Not only as gay men, but it's as people. Like everybody wants to like eat and have sex and survive. So. It's just how we have sex. And that's just part of how we do it. It's part of how we do it.
Wow.
Yeah, and then like just keep it. I'm sorry.
No, go for it.
I'm just gonna say like, Facebook is an app.
Yeah.
Instagram is an app.
Yeah.
Twitter
There's
is
a whole
an
lot of
app.
sex happening
Right.
on
It's a
Facebook
whole
these days.
lot of things. So it's not just Jacked and Grindr and X, Y, and Z. It's so many other things that people use to get it popping.
So your character. Let's talk
boy.
a little bit about this here.
Oh boy.
I've decided to date you both.
Both?
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, bring on the drama. Okay. Seriously?
Yeah, okay.
Why was it important for you to introduce a bisexual show to the community? And it's a two-part question. Do you feel like our community is accepting of bisexuality?
Okay, so part one, the reason why I felt like it was important to introduce a bisexual show was because it's not out there. And I feel like me as a bisexual man, it was important to me to put my voice out there. I wanted my story to be heard. I felt like it was something that was, important to get out there because there are other bisexuals out there who feel that they're not being represented, and it was important to me to make that happen. As far as accepting, the community's coming around. They're coming around, because at first when people saw the show, they were like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it. People always tell me, bisexuality is a phase, you're gonna get over it, what have you. But as they're watching the show, they're understanding that it's not a phase, it's something that is pure. Like, Alex's attraction to men and women is very earnest.
Is it even?
Alex is,
Because I think that's a valid question. I think a lot of gay guys, I know, well, that at least I have, and I would imagine that one other person has a question. Is there an even attraction? Or is it like, I like vanilla ice cream, I like chocolate ice cream, but I happen to like chocolate a little bit more? Is it even?
I feel like each person's bisexuality is dependent upon them. If they feel that they are equally attracted to both, then they're equally attracted to both. If they feel like they have an attraction to women, but they prefer men, or vice versa, it's up to them. That's the whole thing about your sexuality, is ultimately up to you.
Do you feel like in Bi that Alex was even slightly confused about his bisexuality himself?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like Alex is confused about everything. He's confused about his sexuality. He's confused about what he wants, who he's in love with. Should he be in love with this person? Can he still talk to these people? He's confused about all of that, and the whole show just pretty much chronicles his journey as he's trying to figure that all out.
And what are your views on bisexuality as a black gay man?
Well, I mean, it was hard for me to get through because of my like natural inclination towards like thinking women are gross, and so I powered through. And once you get through it, actually is an excellent show. But as far as my personal perception of, I believe it exists. I believe it's a thing.
Now, I've heard it all. I mean, I have heard it all. But come on. Does being bisexual have to mean dating hell?
So I know you guys both answered probably kind of why you created your web series. So I want to know specifically from Danye though, Modern Day Black Gay. I mean, that's such a bold title. Why did you decide to call your series Modern Day Black Gay?
So it really wasn't a lot of reasons. The name for me is one of the most important things because that's what draws people in. And oftentimes I come up with some provocative names. And then also I wanted people to know straight from the gate what the show is about. It's about black individuals. It's about gay individuals. Not saying that if you are not a part of either community that you cannot watch it, but you know before you even watching it what you're going to get yourselves into, right? And if you decide because of the title that you're not going to watch it, that says a lot about who you are, right? So I just wanted straight from the gate, you know what this show is about. And then I put the modern in front of it, not trying to kind of take away from what was beforehand, but just to kind of showcase what is now as it relates to this show, right? So that's where Modern Day Black Gay came.
Come on, guys, vote with me. I don't vote. Are you serious? What type of gay guy are you?
Is voting like a rite of passage for gay men? I'm my type of gay guy.
And you, Dane, I mean, Drama Queen. Some people might take offense to the word Queens. Why did you decide to call your show Drama Queen?
Well, we were living in Queens at the time, honestly, and I thought it was funny. It was just me, Kristen, and Trey grew up together in Detroit.
Oh,
this was when I was 12 years old. So like we grew up together since we were 12, and then we all happened to be actors pursuing acting and living in Queens as roommates. And people kept saying you guys should make a reality show about y'all's lives. It's so fun. You know, like we don't do reality. But, so we were just about Drama Queens, and that's basically what it's about. Not nothing too deep about trying to be provocative. It was just kind of was just very literal. Okay. Drama and Queen.
They called me a faggot. Well, obviously. Shut up. You know, I would expect such foul language in Hoboken or Staten Island, but to attack a queen in Queens? God! The irony of it all.
So, I mean, obviously, like you said, we all just want to eat and have sex. I mean, there's no sleeping or anything in between, just eating sex.
Part of survival.
So, sexuality, do you feel like the black gay man is put into a group of being this promiscuous group of people because we have some kind of internal low self-esteem about ourselves? Like, do we identify ourselves through sex?
Yeah, I mean, the basis of like, listen, our label for each is who we choose to have sex with at the end of the day, or we're born to have sex with, I guess, how people gonna look at it per se. But yeah, I don't know if there's like a larger implication for black gay males than it is for like white gay males. I think they think gay males in general are promiscuous. I actually find in gay community the black male tends to be feminized. I just think that people have an issue of comprehending a black male generally being homosexual potentially. So having us feminizing the black gay male is probably the easier way for, I guess, maybe masses to understand and really deal with it, as opposed to just accepting them on their face value.
So I have my logic, and I remember hearing this a couple of years ago. It actually blew my mind. Maybe it's too deep, maybe it's not. But I remember a friend of mine was saying that, so obviously way back, we were slaves, right? And we were made to be inferior, right? So now that we are in a position to quote unquote be this masculine man who doesn't have to have inferiority for someone else. Outsiders who are not a part of our community looks at us as if we're making this choice to be inferior again, when for such a long time we were inferior. So now why would we decide to do that all over again? So I think that at least within the African American realm, that's what a lot of our community thinks, is that we were inferior for so long, we were made to be inferior. So now why would you go and be inferior again, right? Like, why would you not own this manhood that you now have? When in fact, there are a lot of queer men who are real deal masculine men. Yeah. But I just think there's some people who aren't a part of our community who doesn't look at it that way. They just kind of, and maybe they aren't even conscious of that that's what they're linking it to.
The terms top and bottom places limitations on people, like all tops are supposed to be masculine and all bottoms are supposed to be feminine. The question, are you a top or a bottom, only furthers the notion that our community is pathetically trying to salaciously operate out of a heteronormative paradigm.
But do you feel that there is a connection between masculinity, femininity, and the top-bottom issue?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why?
For sure. You can go first.
Well, we live in a binary, unfortunately, because our society, sociologically, we're in a binary situation. We have feminine, masculine. That's how the world has cut itself in half. And so once you get into homosexual relationships, once you have the masculine party and the feminine party, you just assume they're going to fit into the same kind of structures as straight, as heterosexual people fit into.
Now, are you thinking about black heterosexual?
No, I'm talking about in general. I'm just talking about in general. I think that's why it's an assumption that the more masculine person, the taller person, you know, is going to be the top, and the other way around, or that they can't be versed, or that they don't flip flop and the whole 9 yards. So I think that's my opinion on why we put ourselves in that situation where you really do have to go out of your way. God forbid you're a masculine dude who wants to bottom. It's like, God forbid, you have to be like,
or you're a feminine dude that wants to top.
Or you're a feminine dude who wants to top. Yeah. It's a whole issue. It's a whole so you go out of your way, especially like on apps and whatnot. People like strict top, strict bottom, even though really it is probably a lot of movement there. That's where my theory is.
Are you a top or a bottom? Your profile ain't fake.
I can show you better than I can tell you.
Where you live?
Malcolm X Boulevard, right off of Halsey Street.
So I can come over and find out what you like?
Only if you make me like it more.
I'm about to come over now.
The first episode of Modern Day Black Gay, which was jarring for a lot of people. Why did you decide to start with, are you a top or are you a bottom question?
So of course every episode is, well not of course, but every episode is a question. And I think that's one of the most asked questions in our community. Are you a top or are you a bottom?
How does it make you feel when people ask you that?
I hate it. I absolutely hate it. So with writing it, I didn't want to just put Danye's thoughts in every single thing. Granted, to a certain degree, that's going to come through because I'm the writer. But I wanted to do my job as a writer to show as many aspects and kind of layers to each question. So there was one scene at the party where you have one character who talks about how important it is for that question because it helps us navigate relationships. And then you have another character, the lead character, Malcolm, who talks about how it just, for him, it makes us think that we as a queer community are trying to operate out of a heteronormative paradigm. And that's the side that I take.
Somehow in our community, we've equated masculine with good and feminine with bad. Why do you think that is? Because I know one of your episodes was No Fats, No Fems. Obviously, we've all seen it on the website. No short people, no dark people, no, you know. Why did you think it was important to add No Fats, No Fems as one of the main titles of your show?
Because, frankly, it's just of all the web series, of all the web gay media in general, like TV shows, you know, the few that there have been, movies and whatnot. That's something that's never been touched on. The fact that fundamentally, I think I wanted to talk about my own experiences with like using online applications or just meeting people. It's like the whole no fats thing is really, it's offensive to a certain point because, you know, it doesn't even give you an opportunity to get somebody just because you have like, you know, 30 extra pounds on you. It's like, God, then you're a terrible person. You must be ugly as all outdoors. And all because of what? That doesn't have anything to do with anything at the end of the day. I mean, with no fats, no femmes, I didn't even go into the, no olds, all of this, the whole thing. And it was something that me and my friends, my friends were like, you need to make an episode about this. So one of my friends was like online, and somebody was like, oh, you'd be cute if you weren't so fat. And then they blocked him for no reason. They just contacted him and then blocked him after saying that.
Wow.
And so it's just the way it is. And so I was like, you're absolutely right. I mean, I know what you're going through, and I wanted to talk about it in a way that was playful, but also kind of got to the point.
Okay. No fats, no femmes.
What's that now?
No fats, no femmes. It's literally the worst possible thing you can be in the gay life.
Well, that's just kind of fucked up.
We can be fucked up on the count of decades of discrimination.
Okay, well, better yet, I don't want it on my profile.
That's because you're fat and feminine.
No, I ain't.
Yes, baby. Yes.
My nigga. What would we count as feminine now? Anything is feminine. We're all feminine because we're just not a thug. Or
I guess the question though that we can't really answer here, because I think that we're pretty all open-minded as far as people and characteristics of people, is why and how we got to that point where feminine is bad.
I feel like everyone wants to have like this straight guy that they converted and made gay. Absolutely. And now they have like a straight guy boyfriend. I feel like that's just a fantasy that people want to fulfill. And maybe that's why all these people have like this, I don't want this, I don't want that, I don't want this, I don't want that, because they're trying to fulfill a fantasy. But fantasy is not real life.
Biggest thing for me when creating The Outcry is I remember thinking to myself, because the only thing that I had to watch was Noah's Ark. Yeah. And I remember saying to myself, The Outcry is basically the consequence of Noah's Ark. Because what happened was you have a group of people who want somebody who's tall, who's a thug, who's hood, who's straight as all outdoors, but he'll turn gay just for you. He's also educated, he's rich, he's a writer, he has a gorgeous car, his own place, all of this stuff. And it was like this Wade character. And I remember being young when Noah's Ark first came out, and I was coming out around the time, and people were like, oh, I want a Wade. I remember people just saying that. I'm like, that was Patrick Ian Polk's version of what perfect was, but people started like internalizing that as a thing that is absolutely what is. And alternatively, people who wanted bottoms, they wanted somebody who was pretty and feminine, but could keep it real with you, and just gentle and not feisty and not gonna get aggressive with you, because Noah never raised his voice. It's like all this very subservient. It's all these things, and I just remember thinking to myself, this is an exact consequence of that, because now I live in a world where, unfortunately, it's harder for me because I'm not Wade or Noah. I can't fit into either of those packages.
Just to touch on that a little bit, Noah's Ark has been the pilot for any gay black show.
So which we give credit for.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for paving the way. But at the same time, it gets a little difficult because that's all people know. That's all they're going to compare our shows to.
Right. And that's where the power of you guys' shows come in, is that you offer all of these different perspectives. I mean, you have bi, and to be honest with you, I kind of felt the same way as he did when I first started watching, oh my God, how am I going to connect with this character? But I connected with his confusion, I connected with him. Yeah. I connect with Malcolm on so many levels, because Malcolm, he was on Jack, but he was just so against it. So he had that battle within himself. He had that issue. I connected with your character. You don't think I know who your character is. He's like, let's see if you mess it up this time. But I want to ask you, your show is one of the only shows who made it very clear that these black gay men are open to white gay men. And there are a lot of people in our community who feel very strongly about that. I know myself, just to throw it out, I've never dated anyone outside of my race. Oh my God. Why did you decide to make that such a glaring point? Because not just one character dated a white man, two characters dated a white man.
That's a difficult question to go into, because the honest to God truth, when we were in the first season, we just wanted to find some good actors, right? So, and honest to God truth, we saw people of every race for all the characters, and I just think that the guy we ended up going for specifically, I guess, my love interest, because we say one, the guy with glasses could be kind of nerdy and and we actually was hoping if it's find a black guy for the role. It ended up being somebody, Fred, who was great and did the role. I'm like, okay, cool. So we actually didn't think about it. And it wasn't until the episodes go online that we get all this feedback that's why y'all dating these white gay men? And the honest to God truth is and then out of that, the honest to God truth is that after that, my character started dating black guys because they said, like, you know, this on the show. I'm like, well, I don't want to hear from people's mouths that my character's not dating. Inside my race, so I felt kind of like it was actually kind of this weird situation where, and it wasn't like the other characters didn't date anybody that was black. We dated Latinos, we dated blacks, we had some Asians on the show. Like we dated against everybody possibly could think of. But I think it's glaring mostly because when you see a black person, the contrast is there. It's like it's a black person.
He's a next door
white guy. You know.
Why do you think that we as black gay men are so seemingly resistant to dating outside of our race? I mean, I think we're closer to dating white, but dating an Asian is like almost out of the question. I think we're closer to dating Spanish and white than Asian. Why do you think that there's that divide?
Well, most people date within their racial groups just as a thing. It's just that's because who you see yourself in the mirror. That's who you. Hopefully, you become attracted to yourself, and then you become attracted to other people who remind you of yourself and people who you know in your life. So I think that's just kind of the foundation.
He just spoke something with that one. That's right.
I just think that's like the foundation of why we people date within their races. But why is it so against it? I don't know. I think it really does sort of. I feel some type of way. I'm not even gonna lie. Like when I see it, even though I've had my moments, but I'm like I feel some type of way when I see it visually in media. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know why that is, but I think it's because I think media has a bigger responsibility to show black love in a way that we don't get to see a lot. So I'm like, why take that opportunity? But with that said, I mean, I would totally, if I was working on something, I would totally have a white-black love. And I just think that's I think it'd be something interesting to touch on what we're discussing. But frankly, I just think it's sort of, we like who we like as far as what we've seen in our lives.
For months, the United States has been embroiled in debate and protests over the shooting deaths of unarmed black men. The deaths of Michael Brown, Akai Gurley, and Eric Garner have brought race relations and policing of minority people to the forefront once again. In the cases of Michael Brown and Eric Garner, both grand juries decided not to prosecute the officers that killed the unarmed men, causing many people in this country to step back and ask one very important question: do Black Lives Matter? Why don't Black Lives Matter in the United States, guys? I mean, here we have 4, 5 African-American men, educated, intelligent, creative, trying to improve lives, trying to change and build. But at any moment, we could walk out in the street and be shot down and know that there's a chance your lives won't even be avenged. Why does that matter to you?
I remember after the Mike Brown decision came down, I was just distraught and I was just tired, and for literally a whole day I stayed in my room, I stayed in bed, I couldn't do anything for the most part. And I was actually home back in Philly for the holidays, and my dad came a day or two later, and he just asked me what were my thoughts on it. And so I was just sharing her my thoughts, and I was trying to find the words, but I really couldn't find the words. And he was just saying something that I already knew, but it just really resonated so deeply with me. And he said that at any moment, our counterparts, the Caucasians, could think that we will attack for what happened to us, for our history, right? For our struggle, for our plight, that at any moment we can attack. So they had to create laws to be able to make them comfortable and safe whenever that moment happens, right? So that now when we have these laws, when we have this judicial system, which we know is not for us, it is for the Caucasian individual, so that the simple fact that if there is a moment, then we do attack for our history, that they are safe, right? So that when things like Darren Wilson is not indicted, right? When we have things like the killer of Eric Garner not being indicted, well, duh. Because the system was not designed for us, right? So not saying that helped me, but that kind of really just took the wall from over my eyes even more for things that I already knew.
I was having a conversation with some coworkers, and she's a Caucasian woman, and she was asking me, do we see Al Sharpton as a face of our current fight? And I said no. And she was shocked by that. So I guess it's a two-part question. The first part of the question is, what's the difference? And do we have a face of our fight right now?
I think that's the main difference. I feel like the main difference is that we don't have a person that we can say this is the person that we can all stand behind together and move forward. Right now I feel like we have all these different people that all have all these different ideas that want to cause this change, and because we're not all together as a united front, that's what's causing the main problem.
And also, I think to answer your first question, the issue is that as opposed to our grandparents and our parents and whatnot, the issues are more nebulous, right? Back then it was as simple as we tell you where to sit on a bus, we tell you where you can eat, where you can drink. That's something you can fight about and be able to come together. Now we're fighting about these like the subtlety of it all. We have a black president, that's what everybody points out. We have a black president, so it's harder to be like, you only allow us to drink at the same location, right? Now we're fighting over things like, can I walk down the street without you being just nervous of me? Can I get in an elevator with a white woman without her just naturally grabbing her purse? Yeah. You can't start a movement off of these things, but they do hurt. You know what I'm saying? They do hurt, and it's hard to fight hurt. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to start a movement around just kind of a deep down pain that we're still feeling. And that's why I think it's not like it is in the past. Also, I think when you made a good point with your father, and I had tweeted about that a while ago, about that white people are afraid of repercussions that never come. Yeah. They're like deeply afraid of us, and we've never actually done anything as a culture to make them fearful of us. Like historically, we actually never did anything, but they're afraid of us because. And if anybody ever watched Netflix Dark Girls, they'll talk about this. The fact remains that we've only been out of like enslavement for a very short period of time in the grander scheme of things. So structurally, we've been freed for a shorter time than we've been slaves, if you include Jim Crow. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Since you had mentioned the protest that's been happening all across the country. I know in New York, the Brooklyn Bridge was shut down, and George Washington were marching across the state.
Right.
I noticed in a lot of those protests, the majority of those protesters were Caucasian. I think the thing that frustrates me about the protests is that these people who are protesting also continue to vote in the same people that are creating the laws or that are keeping the laws going, that are keeping us from being able to have fair grand juries. Do you feel like there's a level of guilt amongst our generation of Caucasian people where they feel like, oh, we need to do this in order to show that we're not perhaps as racist as our parents?
I obviously can't speak for this group, but to a certain degree, I do think that yes, it is a certain level of guilt, and just like white privilege exists, but people don't see that. Or don't talk about that, white guilt exists as well. And people don't want to see that or they don't want to talk about that as well. So I do think that exists. And then that also goes into, because I am not here for it whatsoever, right? When you hear Black Lives Matter being substituted and changed to All Lives Matter, right? We already know that all lives matter. Right. But when you take out the word black for all, what you're doing is a clear erasure of black people. And we don't need that. We as black people already know that all lives matter. So when you put the word all, what it now becomes is synonymous to white, because white is the standard, right? So white lives matter. So to go to your question, yes, I do think to a certain degree, I don't know how much because I'm obviously not white, but to a certain degree that there is a level of guilt. But I do think that we live in this instant society thanks to social media, just thanks to everything that exists, where it takes one little thing and then that's when people want to jump on board, right? But it takes so many things, right? We need to be in the fight from the beginning or closer to the beginning and not just these decisions being made that makes everybody want to jump on something right now and then come next week, oh, Solange got married and let's gawk over her wearing all white, right? No, we still need to fight the fight. Fuck what's going on with Solange, still fight.
Flip-flop, because there's a very diverse group in the bi guy over there, and we're going to have them ask each other questions instead of me asking questions. So I think Danye has a question that he wants to ask someone. Let's start with Danye.
I actually do have a question.
I thought so.
My first question, I remember we were talking about it when we were over there. I'm going crazy, not so much crazy, but I want to know, what have you guys done, or what did you guys notice help in terms of getting views? Because you all have, in my opinion, a nice amount of views in comparison. And for me, it's not so much just about oh, just getting high views. I know that not only me, but my team worked so hard on this project, and I want for people to see the hard work that we put into it, to be able to take to the story. So I want to know, like, what have you guys noticed in terms of this marketing and campaigning really helped get your show out there to the masses?
Oh, buddy, who wants to take that first?
For me, I was always looking to grow my audience all the time, and then I just was like, well, who are my people? It's like black gay people. And so I had wrote to the founder of BGC Live, and I said, please, would you mind putting my stuff on your website? And he created a whole little videos tab, and then one day he was just like, you know, his show is really good, I'm put it on our front page. I'm putting my stuff on the front page. And all of a sudden it went from like us getting like, you know, maybe 10,000 hits to all of a sudden we had, you know, over 100,000 hits. And it was a hookup site, basically, BGC Live. But it was just looking at that. And then all of a sudden, like, all these other videos go on BGC Live, all of a sudden, like, everyone else is doing it, which is great. But that's how I did. So I think it was just more so like, target who's my audience and where do they go.
Yeah. Because my show is about bisexuality, I've been going to bisexual groups and talking about it. And just by me talking about it, that has drawn other people to the show as well. So just going directly to the community, be like, hey, I have a show that speaks on our community. Please check it out. Has helped push the show along too. But I'm like you, I'm still like trying to rope in the views, you know? I'm still trying to get people to watch the show as well. So it's an ongoing process, and I'm still learning.
No texting Megan. Establishing distance. Swear to God, some people are just so rude.
Super sorry about that.
No worries. I shouldn't try to text and walk.
I know you. You were my sexy bartender from this afternoon.
You guys probably the most, I guess, rewarding thing about doing your shows as far as like the most frustrating thing.
First off, when I wrote the show, I didn't think anybody was going to watch it. I was like, I'm going to write this show, I'm going to put it out there, ain't nobody going to watch this. Bisexuality, who cares? Like, no one's going to watch it. So the amount of people that are interested, the amount of people that tune in, the amount of people that add me on Facebook, that send me messages saying, because of you, I understand bisexuality. Because of you, I understand myself. That's really been the most rewarding thing that I've gotten so far.
I think for me, the most rewarding thing, and this is like straight to heart, I made the out crowd for myself. For me and my friends, that was what it was. I had no intention of it was supposed to be on YouTube, but that was just sort of like, oh, me and my friends just show our lives. I thought we'd get like maybe like 1,000 views an episode and that'd be like solid. And so for me personally, it's so surprising. Like I'm these fan mails like, I get lonely. But it's the fact that there's other people who felt the same way that I felt, that I'm not alone. And that's been important.
In terms of like hearing responses from people, like that really, like it touches me every single time. And I find myself being like that hype person that like when I'm on Facebook or Instagram, like I'll just casually see somebody post about it. Like, you should check this out. Like that literally lifts my spirit a ton. Just think about like the hard work and like the countless hours of not sleeping and working on it, just seeing somebody just do a post, oh, I like this, like that literally lifts my spirit. I remember during our Kickstarter campaign, my aunt, a straight woman, she was saying how, because I just kept looking at it from the lens of this modern day black gay and just having something for us. My aunt, like I said, this straight woman, black straight woman, she was saying that she's looking forward to seeing the show so she could learn things about our community. And like hearing other people outside of our community saying that they're learning things, they're teaching them things, like has been absolutely amazing for me.
Hey! So I guess as we wrap things up, I kind of want to know, and I think our viewers probably want to know, what's next for you guys? What's next personally, and what's next as far as your projects?
Personally, just continuing to remain in a space full of joy and happiness and X, Y, and Z. Because as I was saying, I can be a really meticulous person and really be about my work. So just learning how to just live life and just be in the moment. And then in terms of my projects, my show. So the shows have now been coming out, so just making sure that just people just watch and just take to it and just enjoy it. And that's pretty much it. I've been thinking about season 2. Like how I write is I'll write it in my head for like months and even sometimes a year before I actually physically write it down. So I've been writing it in my head, and then I'll officially like write it out, and then we'll just take it from there. So that's that.
Oh, well, well, with Drama Queenz, we're going to hiatus right now.
Queenz on hiatus.
Queenz on hiatus for right now. I'm thinking about doing some other stuff in the web space, but we'll see. I've been focusing mostly on doing some indie films. Actually, I had one come out last year called What It Was. That went on the festival circuit, playing like Cram and all the other big places. And then so another one coming out this year, and then our goal is to make 10 micro-budget indie feature films that showcase the LGBT experience of people of color.
Well, I'm currently working on, based off of the kind of like how I felt with the fans and whatnot, I'm trying to work on a website, leakywright.com, that I'm building to sort of be like motivational kind of blog that like to, you know, the fans of the show who are already there, you know, because unfortunately I don't know how much more of the outcry there's going to be because most of our actors have gone, but if we do bring it back, it's going to definitely be like rebooted with, you know, so that's in the future. But my big thing is definitely I want to kind of tap into those audience of people and not let them go, you know what I'm saying? Not let them feel as though now the show's not happening. I'm not abandoning them, so I want to do a blog. I want to do kind of advice talks, like self-help talks, and talk to people about their lives and sort of one-on-one conversation kind of things, and sort of like an Ayan, let's fix my life.
Okay.
But Leaky Fix My Life. I am currently starting my own production company called Bias TV, where me and my business partner Ashton Pena, we come together and we are trying to create this platform where people of any type of underrepresented voice can have a voice. So that is our thing right now. We're producing another show, and I am right now writing season 2 for Bi, so watch out for that. And then my acting career is doing things, so that's cool too.
Doing things.
So there you have it. Thank you guys for joining us. Really appreciate you coming on and talking about your... You're killing me. You're killing me. David's over here cracking up. Anyway, thank y'all for joining us. Look out for more from the eachotherproject.com. I know we have some things coming out for you guys. It's going to continue to educate and intrigue your minds. I'm Jason for David, Leaky, Dane, and Danye. Good night. Good morning, whichever time you're watching. Good that part of the day. Bye.